So hello and welcome back to Go Again Gaming. My name is Az, and today we're going to be speaking about the communities and my contacts' sort of thoughts and opinions with regards to the Tales of ARIA set that's currently being pre-released at the moment. So there's a lot of people streaming, a lot of people doing some stuff with regards to the events that are going on right now as I'm filming this. I haven't had the chance to go to one. I'm very, very busy here in the studio, set up a green screen recently, doing a lot more high quality videos, or trying to at least, and experimenting with loads of stupid things. I'm not sure whether you saw the Star Wars, LSS and Flesh and Blood Kill Magic the Gathering. That was just a stupid idea, stupid video that I just decided to release. It's had a few dislikes as well. Never had that before. That's good fun. But yeah, been very, very busy. But come to expect more Tales of Aria related stuff as time goes on. I'm not one of these to really cover what's going on right now. I like to do my own things. So yeah, I've got a couple of sort of screen grabs and stuff I can share with you with regards to comments on what people have said about Tales of Aria or their experiences at pre-releases so far. Yeah, it should be fun. Should be good to see what people's sort of thoughts and feelings are very early on into playing and sort of drafting this set and doing the sealed stuff. So first of all, we've got a comment from on Instagram from Archer Gaming 22. I'm actually going to be in Archer Gaming's backyard next weekend. I'm going to be in Southampton filming the next Let's Visit episode. So stay tuned for that. So it says, from what I've seen, it looks like a great set. Constructed, looks really, really fun and sealed. And the elemental idea of being able to switch what you're pulling mid-draft looks interesting and amazing. So yeah, obviously you're going to have Earth, Ice, and Lightning. So sort of deciding what element to go down actually filters into another person's point later on. But the sort of variance in what sort of element you choose to go down, whether that's Lightning for sort of quick successive attacks, Earth for sort of stalling and sort of outlasting your opponents and doing big smashy attacks, and then obviously you've got the Ice, which stalls and disrupts your opponents' plans a lot more than normal. So sort of choosing which direct path to go down, or switching in between the two elements and using different things, different combinations of those two elements is going to be the hard part of deciding what you're going to do with your sealed pool and limited pool when you do go into those pre-releases. So I do feel for people that are going through that at the moment with regards to what direction they take their heroes in, because I would just get massive analysis paralysis if I was there doing that. It would take me like 4 hours to build a deck, definitely. And Archer Gaming 22 says, the biggest concern going into the pre-release weekend is its lack of arcane barrier in the set. So that's another point as well, is that Briar, the Earth Runeblade, the Elemental Runeblade character, does care about arcane damage. And there aren't any sort of common rarity equipments in the set that do negate that arcane damage. So a lot of Briar's stuff will basically read, you can't block this. Which is going to be tough, because, unless you're pulling the legendary Heart of Ice or whatever they're called, I'm not clued up on those cards as of now, but I know that there are a few cards in the legendary rare slots, I think, that do negate the arcane damage. But I think that's it, really. So if you come up against Briar, you know that you're not really going to be able to do much against that arcane damage coming in, which is why I love Viserai. But yeah, I have to get Viserai, and some sort of shout out in here. So yeah, Archer Gaming definitely has some concerns, but I believe Marcus Archer, I think his name is, does the Archer Gaming YouTube channel as well as Facebook page, has experienced a pre-release event already, and he has went with Briar and had some good results with Briar. So it would be good to sort of touch base with him after this to see how he's getting on. But yeah, definitely some concerns there with regards to the arcane damage and in the sealed environment, as well as the dilemma of what elements you choose mid-draft. So that's interesting. Then we have Ziggy. one of my patrons. Absolute awesome guy. Thanks for doing that. Thanks for supporting me so early on. And yeah, so Ziggy's point goes into the point about the element choice in the draft or constructed areas as well. So Ziggy says, so far there's been a debate as to whether going mono talent for elemental heroes is the way to go. So far, from what I can see, Briar benefits from going all earth, albeit she has access to lightning as well, and Lexi with all lightning, while there are players who swear on going hybrid is the most effective way. So that goes into Archer Gaming's point with the fact that, do you go all in with earth if you're Briar, or do you go all in with lightning if you're Lexi, or do you have a mixture of earth and lightning if you're Briar, or lightning and ice if you're Lexi? So that is the dilemma that people are having, I think. But what Ziggy is saying here is that mono talent may be the way to go. Just going all in with one strategy rather than having multiple hybrid strategies. But some people are also arguing that the hybrid strategy is also the way to go because, I mean, that's what sort of, I mean, I did a little sort of initial reaction to Lexi about a week or so ago, and that's why I do like Lexi, is because she does work with lightning and ice. She can dictate the tempo and decide what route she wants to go down during the game. But in a limited or sealed pool environment, I imagine trying to sort of balance that hybrid structure will be very hard to do. So I think it is really, in a limited sealed pool environment, just sticking with the good stuff that you've got and trying to hit one avenue, unless you've got a real spread, which is going to be quite unlikely. When you're drafting, when you're doing a sealed environment, the route that you're sort of most likely to go down is based on the cards that you got the most of to be the most consistent, I think. So yeah, I definitely agree with regards to the sealed environment being mono talent. So if you had loads of lightning cards, it makes sense for you to have lightning. If you have loads of earth cards, it makes sense for you to have earth. I mean, again, I don't know all the nuances and the synergies of all this sort of thing, especially with the fuse mechanic as well. If you've got a mono talent earth fusion, if you've got loads of earth fusion cards and earth cards in your deck, it makes sense to go down that route, because obviously the fusion is giving you additional benefits, additional things if you reveal a card of that fusion type from your hand. So you're going to want to go down that train track monorail route if you've got a lot of fusion stuff. So definitely go support that. But yeah, so definitely a good debate with regards to that, Ziggy. So thanks for the chat, the comment there on my Twitter. And also Ziggy goes on to say, other than that, I do want to build around that Duskblade. Oomph. So yeah, Duskblade is an awesome card. It's basically like a Runeblade's version of Dawnblade. So I think it gets a +1 counter if you play a non-attack action and an attack action in that turn. It gets a counter at the end of turn, but if you don't do it, then the counters get removed or something along those lines. So yeah, it's been argued as well that the Duskblade is harder to that there was a I think Ziggy makes another point later on about the weapons that Runeblade has access to in this particular set, being obviously Duskblade and the Rosetta Thorn that Briar has. But Duskblade is more of I need to maintain the tempo in this game. I need to be on my terms in order for that Duskblade to get ridiculous. Whereas the Rosetta Thorn, I think, is just sheerly good value. But I think there's another point later on. If not, leave a comment section below as to how you would build around Duskblade, or what is that better than Rosetta Thorn, or what have you. But yeah, I definitely want to build around Duskblade as well. It looks absolutely awesome. I think it would be great in Viserai, but I just don't know whether Viserai can keep that tempo going. We'll see. So next we have a comment from Ravewen. This is on my Discord. Ravewen's actually in there and chips in every now and again. I appreciate that you've got your own Discord to run, your own channel to run, but thanks for chipping in here, Ravewen. Go and check out his channel. So Raven says, I'm disappointed about the Legendary, but more Shiva just being, hey, here's easy dominate instead of jumping through hoops with Azalea. But I'm enjoying Briar Return. I can always scratch the Ranger itch if I get the urge to do so. So yeah, it's about the sort of Azalea Ranger support question, and I've raised this loads of times about whether Azalea is going to be left in the dust with regards to more talented Elemental Ranger popping up. I can't remember what Raven was referring to when he said, "Yeah, I'm disappointed about the Legendary." I can't remember what that was now. But the point about the fact that Shiver is a Elemental Ranger weapon that Azalea can't use, it just gives easy dominate, whereas Azalea has to jump through hoops to get that dominate, is a main point, I think, of this. So it goes back to that age-old argument that I've had for months about whether sort of dual classes are going to be good for the game going forward, and whether the older heroes that don't have the talents are going to be left behind. It's an age-old argument that I've had for a long time, and Rave One again is saying that and sort of hitting on that point here with the easy dominate from the Shiver weapon, which looks very, very cool to use, and obviously it works with Azalea again. Not Azalea, it works with Lexi, because of the fact that with Lexi you want to have a mixture of different things so you can dictate the tempo. And again, giving it dominate, or I think it's Go Again. Shiver gives, isn't it? Is it Go Again, or is it give it +1? But regardless, it dictates the tempo a lot, and Shiver. The fact that Azalea can't use Shiver is just a bit rubbish, really. So Andrew Mason, another patron of the channel, thanks for chipping into this video, is saying that it's slightly disappointing to see a third Runeblade variant when there are other heroes still waiting. Guessing this is based on setting and theme. The elements effects look interesting, and will be interested to see if hybrid or mono works best. So yeah, going back to the hybrid or mono argument, or the hybrid and mono discussion, again, yes, it will be interesting to see, not only from the sealed experiences that people have, but when people are starting to build constructed decks and blitz decks for other events rather than seal pools, whether the hybrid or mono works best. But I think for sealed environments, mono is going to be better if you have the cards to support that one mono talent. But hybrid, I think, could be very good for tempo purposes if you do have the cards to build it. But it's going to take a lot more tuning, a lot more sort of work to make that work, I think. And yeah, with regards to the Runeblade variant, it's something that we were all surprised about, I think, with regards to the Elemental Runeblade. But I think it's a good thing in the sense that there is now another Runeblade to contest Chain and to knock Chain down a bit potentially. And with all these ice and taxing effects going on, I think that's going to make it harder for sort of the Katsu decks and the Chain decks to do their stuff for free and rinse us like that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how another Runeblade shapes the meta going forward. And I'm not really clued up on all of that stuff yet. I mean, again, my brain is still taking in all of this information. Yeah, I think a lot of us were disappointed. Maybe we would have liked to see a Shaman or a Seer or an Oracle or something like that sort of works with the whole sort of earthy, shamanic, druidic sort of feel that we were getting from Candlehold. It's a shame, but I'm sure LSS have a fantastic reason and plan for why they've done that. They've added, obviously, there's a couple of Runeblade cards that can also be used by the other Runeblades in the set as well, I believe, like equipments and stuff, like the Rosetta Thorn, the Sutcliffe Suede hides and stuff, and a few other things, Duskblade, of course. So it'd be interesting to see whether any of the other Runeblades do utilise the stuff that's come from this set. But I think it mainly, the main stuff from here is the Elemental Runeblade stuff that goes into Briar. So yeah, I guess we'll see. Andrew, another patron of the channel, is saying, I'm not sure how many new classes we'll be getting in the future. Each class is another category that will need support going forward. So yeah, going into the fact that Andrew said, why have we got a third Runeblade? Andrew is then backing it up by saying, I don't think we're going to see that many classes going forward. I think it will just be repeats of the same classes, so that those classes and those heroes that are the generic versions of the talented versions can still access parts of those card pools. Because if you just design new classes every single set, that's an entire swath of new cards that LSS has to design around that particular hero, and that could be quite difficult. So I understand what Andrew is saying there. Too many different plates need to be spun to keep the fans happy and the game balanced, is what Andrew goes on to say. And Briar is very druidy in feel, besides the shape-shifting. And the game feels like it's going flavour direction for different jobs rather than new classes to avoid overwhelming the design space. Yeah, as I was going into the design side of it, you know, having to design a whole new set of, well, not set, but a whole new pool of cards just to go for the new druid that was released is going to be difficult, because that means that only that character can use that pool of cards, and nobody else gains access to it. So maybe they will do more sort of these generic warriors, brutes, runeblades, wizards in the future, but have talents in front of them, so that all of the aforementioned non-talented heroes can still access parts of the card pools that have been released with the new sets. And obviously we'll have the supplementary sets like Crucible of War that still potentially will just have wizard on rather than elemental wizard or what have you. You know my point. But maybe the supplementary sets will have the non-talented cards that everybody can use potentially, and obviously that will come out with just what's come out recently, and you know, sort of sculpting that to the meta. So yeah, No Winners on Instagram is saying that I'm really interested to see the changes the few Runeblade pieces will make to Viserai and Chain, and if Azalea is going just to become obsolete in the wake of Lexi, and how Sealed turns out with each hero being able to use 2 out of 3 available elemental cards. So yeah, another good point with regards to the Runeblade pieces. So any Runeblade pieces that these older Runeblades can use, will they be used in their decks now as a result of those reveals? And is Azalea going to become obsolete in the wake of Lexi? So I'm not the only one that thinks that. You know, I'm not sure if you can hear that ridiculous lawnmower in the background. Thanks for spoiling the video. And again, yeah, he goes on to say that how Sealed turns out with each hero being able to use 2 out of 3 available elemental cards. Now that's an interesting point, because obviously if you wanted to play Briar, for instance, but you only have access to a lot of Earth and Ice cards, it doesn't really make sense to be able to play Briar, because Briar can only use the Earth section. So if you got loads of Ice cards and Earth cards, it makes sense for you to go with Oldhim, because although you might want to play and use Briar, you can't, because you've only got the Earth half of Briar's talent. However, if you do have a load of Earth cards that care about just Earth cards, like Earth fusions and what have you, then that could work. So yeah, definitely a good point there from No Winners on Instagram. Before You Arsenal on Twitter is saying, I'm really disappointed in seeing another Runeblade, to be honest. For me, it raises questions about the support and viability of older heroes going forward. So yeah, we've had that discussion many times already, Before You Arsenal, and I agree with you in that sense, but I do have full faith in Legendary Studios. Fresh and Buds podcast, replying to both Arsenal Before and Go Again Gaming 1. I think this set is going to shake up the meta more than you realise. These Frostbite token decks are going to slow things down, and I dare I say it, give decks like Azalea their chance to shine. So Fresh and Buds there, thinking the opposite of what we have fought in the past, maybe giving decks their chance to shine in the wake of these new Frostbite tokens and sort of other interactions with regards to the elements that could maybe clog up and affect other heroes in the meta, not so much Azalea, potentially. So that's an interesting point. And then Andrew goes on to say some other things about some pre-release experiences that he's had so far. And he said, I had fun and got destroyed by lightning in 2 games. Arcane damage in pre-release is really good because there isn't much block. So going back to the arcane damage point, Andrew is saying here, Andrew Mason, this is one of my patrons, that arcane damage is a bit of an issue in Seal because there is no arcane barrier. So yeah, definitely, we knew that already. And he goes on to say that found to triggering Briar's abilities quite tricky, but pre-release decks are far from optimized. So yeah, again, pre-release is all fun and games, you know, and it does take a certain amount of skill to build a deck from what you get with regards to your sealed pool. However, it is a bit of luck. It's a luck game, really. You're building decks with what you've pulled out of random packs. So that can either go one of two ways, really. You can either get some really, really good stuff, build a cohesive sort of have a deck that has some sort of plan to it, or you can just, you know, pull fabled cards and legendary cards that do absolutely nothing for the other cards that you've really sort of got in your pool, and the deck can just crash and burn, but you can walk away with some awesome cards. Or you could just, well, it can go loads of different ways, really. It can't go one of two ways. It can go so many different ways. But yeah, again, as Andrew Mason said, sealed decks are far from optimized. And Andrew Donnelly at the end chipped in with a statement. It just said, "Be lucky, don't be unlucky." So that just goes to show his feelings on sealed events, and I agree. There is a bit of skill involved to sort of build the decks from what you've been given, but if you're given utter trash to deal with, then it's hard to build a deck from that, really. So I'd love to hear other people's opinions in the comments as to how your pre-release has gone. But I just thought I would throw some community thoughts and feelings out there in regards to the Tales of Aria set so far, how it could affect the sealed and pre-release environment, and as a result of that pre-release happening this weekend, drop a comment in the section below as to how yours went. I'd love to hear from you, because I don't have the time at the moment to deal to go to a pre-release, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. So I want to live precariously through you. So drop a comment in the section below. I'd love to know how you get on and what you want to do in the future with the cards that you've got. And do you want to build constructed decks from them? What do you want to do? Do you want to build blitz decks? I'd love to know. And also, Go Again Gaming. Just thought I'd mention this as well. He put a little GIF in my Twitter saying, the same thing we do every night, Pinky. We want to try and take over the world. And then Brutapcast said, squash everyone with the weight of Earth. That is all. So did you squash everyone with the weight of Earth? Did you take over the world? Let me know in the comments below. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in for Go Again Gaming. Check out my Patreon, my links, my web store, my card vault stuff, Go Again Gaming, all that sort of stuff in the links description box below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.